Ralghia the Witch, Chapter 6, Part 1, The Forest Maiden. Ralghia the Witch was proud of her forest. She had preserved almost 2 million acres in their natural state, and for this the trees were grateful. They shared their knowledge with Ralghia, which increased her powers even more. In truth, she didn't have to do much to keep the forest pristine. For one thing, the property consisted of high mountains, too rocky to farm and too steep to build on. People had no need to go there, so roads between cities were never laid out near Ralghia's woods. Also, the trees were so large and so plentiful that they formed a thick canopy, through which sunlight could not penetrate. The forest was dark and forbidding, even in the middle of the day, so men avoided it. They spoke in hushed tones of what they thought lay within, an army of robbers who collected the heads of unwary travelers, or ancient monsters, and unspeakable evil. Ralghia encouraged the rumors because these stories kept people away, but there were no robbers because there were no other people around for them to rob, and there was only one unspeakable evil in the forest, the evil that human beings brought with them. For despite the darkness, the distance, and the danger, the wilderness still attracted a certain group of people, fortune hunters. As long as there were trees to be cut for timber or animals to hunt for fur, such people would brave their fears. There was money to be made. Ralghia knew how to deal with these men, and it was nearly always men. She cast a curse on the tools and weapons they brought into the forest, so that when any man swung an axe, it would instead gash his leg and leave him with a permanent scar. Or, if any man tried to kill a deer, the bowstring would snap, slashing him his face and leaving him with a scar for the rest of his life, and steel traps always sprung while being set. The men would live to tell their tales of woe in town, and fear of the forest spread with little effort on Ralghia's part. Thus she kept the peace in her woods and earned the tree's gratitude. Which is why Ralghia was surprised one day when she heard her plants screaming for help. Surely another evil could not have entered the world without her knowledge. Ralghia transported herself to the spot, and now she understood. A husband and wife were plucking out herbs by the roots, without bothering to use tools. This was something she had not foreseen. Ralghia focused her witch's eye on them and saw their ugliness and greed. Only the baby girl on the woman's back was innocent. Ralghia let the black fire radiate from her and spoke in her full voice. "Why are you here?" As the couple turned, their faces changed from greed to fear. The woman, already on her knees, bowed her head. "Forgive us, O mighty witch! We came because we need food for the baby." Ralghia was not fooled. "So you came this deep into my woods to feed your child?" "Yes, O mighty witch." "You lie. Those are wild leeks, ill-suited for an infant. But I understand they fetch a high price in the market, enough that people are willing to risk death to harvest them. Are you?" She raised her hands, ready to strike. But then she realized that if she killed the parents, this would leave the baby girl to a horrible fate. As she sorted this out, the woman spoke, and that gave Ralghia her answer. "Please, I beg you, I'll pay you whatever you ask." "Money I already have enough of," Ralghia spat. "I do not need more. You shall have your precious herbs, and you get to keep your pathetic lives. But I demand payment of a different sort." "Name it." "The baby." The woman's jaw dropped, and her lips trembled. The husband could only stare, struck dumb by fear and in awe of Ralghia's dark beauty. It took a while before the woman found the courage to speak. "No, not that. Anything but that." "Too late, for a contract now exists between us. The baby is mine," Ralghia answered. The moment she spoke those words, they became the truth, for that is how word magic works. The baby began to cry. But the tears stopped the minute the black fire lifted her out of the woman's bundle and into the arms of Ralghia, the girl's new and better mother. "You can't do this," the woman protested. "You can't. She's all I have in the world." "Then you would have been better off selling something else in the market," Ralghia retorted. "Come now, you were ill-suited to being a mother in the first place. The fact the child accepts me so readily is proof. And now that you are no longer burdened with a daughter, you are free to start over, with or without him. You saw how noble he was to defend you." Ralghia turned to the husband. "As for you, you are also free to start over. You no longer have a wife and child, assuming either of these were ever yours to begin with." She waved her hands at them, and their feet carried them out of the forest. It took a full day before their legs became their own again. Ralghia sneered as she watched them go. Then she turned her attention to the baby. "Well," she said after a moment's silence, "what am I to do with you?" She didn't have to think about it long. She raised her voice to the heavens and summoned a fox, a deer, and a bear. They appeared before her and bowed low. Then they did a little dance. They would have done this for a while, but Ralghia interrupted. "Feed this child, for it is mine," she announced. "Give her milk and good things to eat. I shall raise her in this forest, far from the prying eyes of men and the contagion they carry. You will teach her the ways of the forest, and I will show her my magic, so that she may become a worthy successor. I shall name her Moriana, for that means Forest Maiden in the languages of the world." And with that, Ralghia asked permission from the trees to build a cottage in a clearing. Moriana lived there, and with all the animals of the forest as friends and caretakers, she grew into a healthy young girl and made the woods her own. Ralghia visited the cottage as often as she could. From the time the girl could walk, from the time the girl could understand, Ralghia showed off her magic and explained that Moriana would be able to do these tricks herself someday. As Moriana grew, she became more beautiful with each passing day. She was graceful, light on her heels like a dancer. She dressed in white, and she wore white flowers in her auburn hair. And she was very smart. She understood every lesson, and Ralghia felt certain that it was only a matter of time before Moriana became a powerful witch in her own right. But in this, Ralghia was sadly disappointed. Although the girl was intelligent and asked the right questions, she did not show any aptitude or ability to handle magic. She could not hasten a flower's blooming, or mix a draught to heal the sick, or even hear the voices of the woods. Ralghia instructed her and showed her everything, but Moriana couldn't reproduce anything Ralghia did. In fact, she seemed to get worse, not better, with each visit. But Ralghia had great hopes for the girl, and would sit with her late into the night, answering her questions. "Mother, why are your eyes black?" "It is because I carry the black fire." "What is the black fire?" "It is a source of ancient wisdom and power, but because men cannot control it and cannot possess it, they fear it and call it evil. It is no such thing, however. The black fire is what enables me to protect these woods. The black fire also enables me to be the protectress of women. In the village below my castle, no woman ever has to fear that a man will raise his hand against her in anger, for I am there. And it gives life. I have lived for centuries, and I shall have more of them unless unfortunate circumstances befall me. What's more, I am never alone, for I have the black fire within me as my constant companion." The girl looked into Ralghia's dark eyes. "Does it hurt?" "No, my child. In fact, I grow stronger with every passing day because of it. The black fire is a great comfort to me, as well as the source of my power and wisdom. And someday, my child, when you are ready, I will give the black fire to you. for I have raised you and prepared you for the day when you will be my successor." Mariana's eyes danced with excitement, as Ralghia had hoped. But even with that as an inspiration, the girl showed no signs of improvement. By now, Mariana had reached her teen years. She was beautiful indeed, and an attentive student. But they made no progress.